Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today on Behr Builds Bikes, we're going to be putting together a Jamis Boss Cruiser single-speed coaster brake. This one is a 14-inch in white. Should be a very basic build, not a lot of stuff that has to be put together, just the handlebars, seat, pedals. Make sure the chain tension is right, inflate the tires, and she should be good to go. Should be a pretty quick video, unless we run across any problems, which I don't anticipate. So, without further ado, let's get started. So like all the bikes that we build, we have to get it out of the box first. We're no longer doing the razor to the side of the box because too many people have complained that they've sliced their tires. So we have to do it the old-fashioned way, rip the box open. Be very careful of the staples along the side so you don't slice yourself open reaching into the box. Fold your tabs all the way open and that can help to avoid that. Pull our bike out. Grab our parts box and our seat. Now, like all the bikes that we build, we're going to find our seat post, which is strapped to the frame somewhere. We're going to size it into our clamp. For this, we're going to use our side cut pliers. We're going to cut the wheel off. All our cardboard goes back into the box. Our styrofoam goes into our recycling. Our seat post. And we're going to check our size in the clamp. All right, so from here we're going to take the seat out of the packaging and we'll get the seat in onto the post. And I'll move the camera over so you can see how I do that. So with our clamp facing us, we're going to turn the base of the clamp around. We're going to slide it down between the rails, and then we will turn it so that it is back to being perpendicular with the rails themselves. We're going to snug up on that bolt just a little bit. We do want the seat to have a little bit of a pitch to the post. We're not going to torque this down all the way because we will adjust it further once we are to put it in the frame. But essentially this is what we are looking to accomplish, is to get the rails of the seat post, of the seat clamp onto the rails of the seat. Should be about that angle, roughly. All right, so now we will go ahead and put it into the frame and get the rest of the unpacking done. So from here, we're going to put a little grease down into the seat tube. We're going to put a little grease into the head tube. We're going to grab our 3-way Allen. We're going to take our seat and put it down into the frame. And with a 6mm bolt, we're going to tighten this up. Remember that this has to hold the weight of the bike. We will kind of give that a little extra, not permanent, but enough to where we can lift the bike up, put it in the clamp, adjust our angle, and then we're going to go ahead and cut everything else off, all the zip ties. We're going to take all the packing off, and then we'll get into our actual assembly. This, of course, we do fast forward, and without further ado, I'm going to start chopping away at the zip ties. So from here, we're gonna open our parts box so we can get our stem and our pedals. Pedals, reflectors, stem, owner's manual, and the cap. Now we've already greased our head tube so we can get our stem in there. It's a 6mm on the bolt. We're using about 3 fingers from the bottom of the stem to the bolt itself. I'm not worried about it being straight yet. We are going to take the cap off. Remember which direction it's facing because it does only go on one way. We'll put our handlebars on, put our cap right back on, start the bolts by hand. Don't want to cross thread anything. Once we get them snug to where they just start to bottom out, and we'll adjust our handlebar, bring it up, and then snug these bolts down. We're not going crazy yet because we still have to adjust it. Now, pedals. They do have the stickers on them for left and right. We're going to put a little grease on the spindles. Going to start our right pedal clockwise. Start it by hand, make sure the thread's made up. When we go to the other side, we're still going clockwise from the right side of the bike. If you're on the other side, you're obviously going counterclockwise. The thing with the coaster brake is you can't pedal it backwards to set the pedals, so you literally have to go around and around and around. So the more you can get it set by hand. I'm holding the rear wheel using the chain to be able to set the pedals in place. But the more you can do by hand, the less you have to do with the tool. Get those nice and tight. We're going to check our chain tension. Chain is pretty tight right now, so we're going to loosen up the 15mm, the rear axle nut, just to put a little bit of play in there, not a lot. We're going to push in on the rim because we don't want that to be so tight that it makes it hard to pedal. Now we're going to check to make sure that the wheel is straight in the frame, so we'll loosen up the other side. Push the wheel over so that it's straight, and then tighten the bolt back down. And with the same wrench, we're going to put our front wheel on. The tread of these tires does not have a direction to it, so it can go either way. They do have the little lawyer tab washers on there, the ones that have the little hooks in them that hold into the frame. So when you set these up and in, make sure that you get that little tab into that first hole on the fork. So that in the event that the wheel axle nuts come off, that tab will actually save the wheel from coming off completely. Hopefully, in theory. Now from here, I'm going to add air to the front and rear tire. We do this in increments. You want to make sure that that tire is seated at the bead, both sides, all the way around. You don't want the tire blowing off the rim. You'll hear it set itself. When you spin it, it's not hopping. These tires get anywhere between 40 and 56 pounds of pressure. We're going to make sure that we're straight in the frame. And put our cap back on. I'm going to inflate the rear tire. Same basic procedure. Get a little air in it, spin it around, check the bead against the rim. Make sure everything is set where it needs to be. Now I'm doing this by feel. I've done so many of these that I can get pretty close. You can always check it with a gauge. Like I said, the side of the tire is actually labeled as to what the recommended pressure should be. We're gonna pedal it around. You can see it's got a little wobble to it. That's where we're gonna take our spoke wrench, and we're gonna find out where the rim needs to be adjusted. This usually happens in shipping with most of these bikes. I'll be doing another video on how to actually true a wheel. This is just doing the basic adjustments. If it's off to one side, you're going to tighten the spoke that's on that side to pull it back over. Now these do not have rim brakes on them, so it is not extremely critical that these things are completely straight. The front one seems to be fine. The next step is to put on our reflectors. Again, I like to put a little bit of an angle on the reflector, so when it's on the post, which is at an angle, it's kind of countering that particular angle. I'll put it in the forward position for now until we get it down and make sure that the seat is where we need it so we can access the bolt underneath. All right, so she's basically assembled. We're going to take her down. We're going to see that the seat is exactly level where I want it. With our 6mm, we're going to hit this bolt underneath. We're going to make sure that she's tightened down as much as we need her to be. Now with any bike that we build, we're going to nut and bolt the whole thing, meaning we're going to go over every bolt on it, make sure everything is tight the way it should be. I'm going to turn our reflector around. We're going to drop down our seat post. Make sure she's in line with the frame. We're going to line up our handlebar. Should be directly in line with the tread of the tire. Tighten that down. You can use your 6mm long handle. Gives you a little more leverage. These stem bolts on top need to be as tight as you can get them. I mean, you obviously don't want to snap them off, but you want them tight because you do not want these handlebars to move down. And then the last piece of the puzzle is the cap that goes on the stem bolt. From here, we're gonna go over the whole thing top to bottom, make sure that she's 100% tight. And, you know, simple gimple, she's ready to rock and roll. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you'll watch more, share, like, subscribe, the whole 9 yards, and hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.